The gun is a .38 caliber revolver, older than you are, with a patina of rust freckling the cylinder and a grip wrapped in electrical tape that leaves a sticky black residue on your palm. It smells of cigarette smoke and the faint, sweet tang of cosmoline that never fully cleaned out of the barrel. You bought it 2 hours ago from a man in the parking lot of a shuttered Dairy Queen off Route 41 for $600 and a fake Rolex. Your hands are shaking, not the cinematic tremor of a hero, but a full-body, muscle-locking vibration that starts in your solar plexus and rattles down to your fingertips. You are 22 years old, $34,000 in debt to a loan shark named Kostya, who broke your left pinky finger with a pair of vice grips last Tuesday and promised he would take your mother's house next. The target is a middle-aged Armenian pawnbroker named Grigor who skimmed from the wrong people. You have never fired a gun at a living thing before. You have never even punched someone with intent to hurt. You are standing in the urine-stinking stairwell of his apartment building, the dim fluorescent light flickering with a buzz like an angry wasp, waiting for his door to open. The door opens. Grigor steps out in a wife-beater, holding a trash bag. He is shorter than you expected, balding, with a mustache stained yellow at the edges from unfiltered cigarettes. He doesn't see you. You step forward, the revolver feeling like a lead anchor in your hand, and you think, I can just leave, I can run. But you think of Kostya's vice grips. You think of your mother's house, with its creaky back porch and the rose bushes she planted when your father died. You raise the gun. You pull the trigger. The sound is not a bang. It's a physical event, a concussive blast that punches your eardrums into ringing silence and fills the stairwell with the smell of burnt gunpowder and something else. Something wet and metallic that you will learn to identify as aerosolized blood. The bullet hits Grigor in the side of the neck, a fluke shot you didn't aim. He makes a sound you will never, ever forget. A wet gargle like a sink draining, and he collapses against the door frame, the trash bag splitting open, spilling coffee grounds and eggshells across the linoleum. You stand there for what feels like a century, frozen, the gun still raised. Then you run. You don't stop running until you're 7 blocks away, vomiting behind a dumpster, your entire body convulsing. You've just earned $5,000. You've just become a killer. This is level 1. Level 1, the desperate. Your first hit pays $5,000 cash, delivered in a grease-stained McDonald's bag by a man you only know as Uncle, a squat Belarusian with a missing earlobe and breath that reeks of boiled cabbage. He meets you in the back booth of a 24-hour diner, slides the bag across the Formica table, and says, no mistakes next time. Grigor's girlfriend saw your face. Uncle had to clean that up. That costs. You owe Uncle a favor now. You don't ask what the favor is. You don't want to know. The money feels like blood-soaked cotton in your pocket. You pay Kostya $30,000 the next day. He seems almost disappointed, like he'd been looking forward to the house. And you keep the remaining $5,000. You spend it on a new mattress because you can't sleep on the old one anymore without seeing Grigor's neck bloom open. You are not a professional. You're a desperate kid who got lucky. But Uncle has you now, that favor like a leash, and 3 weeks later he calls. The job is a drive-by, a rival bookie who's been skimming from the same organization. You're given a stolen Honda Civic with paper plates, a high point 9mm with the serial number filed off, and a driver named Dima who chews sunflower seeds and spits the shells out the window with robotic regularity. You shoot the bookie through the passenger window as he's unlocking his car outside a strip club. The recoil jars your wrist, the brass casings bounce off the dashboard and burn your forearm, and Dima floors it before the body hits the ground. The hit is sloppy. You hit him in the shoulder and the gut, not the kill zone, but he bleeds out in the ambulance. You earn $8,000. You throw up again, but this time you make it to the bathroom first. The psychological toll is immediate and physical. You develop insomnia that lasts for days. Your appetite vanishes. You drop 12 pounds. Every siren is for you. Every stranger who glances your way is an undercover cop. You start carrying the .38 everywhere, even to the grocery store, the weight of it a cancerous comfort in your waistband. Your mother asks why you look so tired, and you tell her you're working double shifts at the warehouse. You kiss her on the forehead, and when she hugs you, you're acutely aware that Grigor's blood is on these hands. You scrub them raw with a pumice stone, but you feel it still, a phantom stain in the whorls of your fingerprints. Level 2, the street soldier. Uncle promotes you. You're no longer a one-off desperate. You're a regular associate, a button man for a mid-level Bratvassel, operating out of a Brighton Beach auto body shop that never actually repairs any cars. The shop smells of stale motor oil, burnt coffee, and the sharp artificial pine of an air freshener that's been hanging from the rearview mirror of a junked Buick for a decade. You're given a locker with a set of dark coveralls, a prepaid burner phone that gets swapped every 4 days, and a Makarov pistol, Soviet-era surplus, reliable, untraceable. Your pay is now $15,000 per job, sometimes more depending on the target's security. You're earning enough to rent a modest apartment in Sheepshead Bay under a fake name, but you still go home every Sunday for your mother's pot roast, the cognitive dissonance splitting your psyche like a hairline fracture. You learn rudimentary tradecraft. Dima teaches you to case a location, note the cameras, the patterns, the exits. You learn to wear gloves, not just to avoid prints, but to avoid leaving skin cells. You learn that a 9mm round to the back of the skull is the most reliable. It scrambles the brainstem, prevents the target from firing back reflexively, and if you're close enough, the muzzle flash singes the hair and partially cauterizes the wound, reducing spray. The first time you do it right, the body drops like a puppet with its strings cut, and you feel a split second of professional satisfaction before the nausea returns. You learn to suppress that nausea with vodka, cheap and plentiful, drunk alone in your apartment with the blinds drawn. The jobs escalate. A Turkish heroin trafficker who needs to disappear before a deal goes bad. An Albanian crew member who talked to the feds. A witness to a warehouse shooting. The last one is a woman, a 24-year-old waitress who saw a license plate. You don't find out her name until after the job, when you see it in the news. You stare at her photo for an hour. She had a 2-year-old daughter, and then you smash the TV with the butt of your Makarov and spend the night sitting in the corner, knees to your chest, rocking. Uncle slaps you when you miss a meeting. You think you're better than this, he hisses, spittle flying. You're in the mud with the rest of us. Embrace it or put a bullet in your own skull. You don't do either, you just keep going. Level 3. The Contractor. You've survived 3 years. Most don't. The mortality rate in this life is staggering. Arrest, overdose, internal purges, or the simple accidental bullet from a rival. You've outlived Dima, who took a shotgun blast to the spine during a botched home invasion and now lives in a wheelchair in his grandmother's apartment in Odessa. You've outlasted Uncle, who was strangled with a piano wire by a Chechen enforcer over a gambling debt and dumped in the Gowanus Canal. You're on your own now, but your name has circulated to certain people who don't say your name at all. They call you the mechanic. Not because you fix things, but because you take them apart. You are a contractor now, working for a loose network of fixers who connect high-end clients with reliable killers. The fixer takes a 20% cut, you do the work. Your base rate is $50,000 a pop, plus expenses. You acquire a full set of clean identities, a Nevada driver's license, a social security card, a passport. You have a storage unit in Queens that contains a go bag, $50,000 in hundreds, a Glock 19 with a threaded barrel and a silencer co-suppressor, a box of subsonic 147 grain hollow points, a change of clothes, and a cyanide capsule you bought off a disgraced chemist that you're not sure is real, but you keep anyway as a psychological prop. The work evolves. You travel, Las Vegas, Miami, Toronto. You kill a real estate developer in his own penthouse, the hollow points muffled to a whisper by the suppressor, the sound like a nail gun through a pillow. You kill a corrupt police captain who was about to expose a drug corridor. You kill a university professor who, you're told, was funneling missile tech to a foreign state. You don't verify that because verification is how you end up on a list. The money piles up. You have $340,000 in a duffel bag under the floorboards of your apartment. You don't trust banks, you barely trust air. Your paranoia is now a full-blown psychological condition. You sweep your apartment for listening devices daily with a radio frequency detector you bought off a surveillance supply website. You never take the same route twice. You have 6 different phones, each used for a single contact. You've stopped going to your mother's house. You tell her you're working out of state, and you send her $2,000 a month in money orders from different post offices. You haven't had a friend in 2 years. The last woman you tried to date, a dental hygienist with a kind smile, asked you what you did for a living. You said import-export and then ghosted her because the lie was so thin you could see the death penalty through it. Level 4, the professional. You're not just a killer. You're a craftsman. You train obsessively, a membership to a private range under a false name, Krav Maga classes, lock-picking courses. You learn forensic countermeasures. You stop using hollow points for close work. You start using frangible ammunition that disintegrates inside the body, leaving no projectile to trace. You use a .22 LR pistol for indoor jobs. The little rounds that bounce around inside the skull but don't exit contain destruction. You study anatomy not from textbooks but from actual autopsies, bribing a morgue attendant in Newark $1,000 to let you observe. You learn the exact angle to sever the brainstem from behind, the precise pocket of the rib cage to slip a blade into the heart without hitting a rib and breaking the tip. You become an expert in your trade, and the expertise brings a kind of cold, meditative calm. The shakes stop, the vomiting stops. You start to feel nothing. Your fee is now $100,000 per job, minimum. You are hired by a Mexican cartel to eliminate a rival sub-commander in a Texas border town. You do it from 800 meters with a suppressed bolt-action rifle, the shot cracking through the dry desert air half a second after the target's skull explodes in a red mist. You are hired by a private equity scumbag to kill his business partner for the insurance and the buyout. You make it look like a carbon monoxide leak in his yacht's cabin. You are hired by a political fixer in Washington, D.C. to silence a lobbyist who was about to blow the whistle on a defense contract kickback scheme. You disguise it as a street robbery gone wrong, taking his wallet and his watch but leaving his phone, which contains the encrypted files, misdirection. The news cycle chews the story for 3 days and then moves on. The isolation is absolute. You live in a high-rise apartment in Philadelphia under a name that appears on no leases, paying in cash to a landlord who asks no questions. The apartment is Spartan: a bed, a kettlebell, a laptop running a VPN that routes through 6 countries, and a safe containing $600,000 in mixed currency. You have no photos on the walls, no personal items except a single frame picture of your mother that you keep in the closet because you can't bear to look at it. The cognitive dissonance is no longer a fracture. It's a chasm you've learned to walk around. You are 2 people: the son who FaceTimes his mother on her birthday, and the monster who can enter a home and a life and be out before the dog stops barking. Level 5, the cleaner. The next tier is a title whispered only in certain circles: the cleaner. You are no longer just the trigger man. You are the one they call when a job has already gone wrong, when a body needs to vanish completely, when a crime scene needs to be scrubbed of any trace, when a witness needs to disappear with no ripple. Your rate is now $250,000 per engagement, plus a retainer of $10,000 a month just to keep your phone on. The tradecraft goes deep. You learn chemical dissolution using lye and high-density polyethylene barrels, though you prefer the cleaner method of industrial meat processing equipment. A contact at a rendering plant outside Cleveland owes you a favor. You learn how to dismember a body efficiently. The key is the joints, separating at the synovial capsules rather than sawing through bone, which creates telltale striations. You wear a Tyvek suit, 2 layers of nitrile gloves, and a respirator that makes you sound like Darth Vader. You do not see a person anymore. You see a problem to be broken down into soluble components. Your work now includes making the living disappear too. You are an architect of false trails. You plant evidence to redirect investigations. A burner phone logged with calls to a fictional mistress, a plane ticket purchased under the target's name to a non-extradition country, a staged suicide note written with a perfect simulation of the target's handwriting. You've taken a graphology course. You pay off morgue technicians to mislabel remains. You bribe low-level police clerks to misfile case folders into the lost archive of a flood-damaged storage facility. You are a ghost. You don't exist on paper, not as yourself anyway. Your birth certificate belongs to a boy who died of SIDS in 1974. You've reanimated his identity and built it into a credit score of 780. You have a safety deposit box in Luxembourg with $1.2 million in bearer bonds. You own an apartment in Vienna you've never seen, bought through a shell company nested inside 3 others, managed by a lawyer who believes you're a reclusive tech investor. And for all that, you have never been more alone. You spend Christmas watching It's a Wonderful Life on a laptop in a nondescript hotel room in Budapest, crying silently at the end because you realize that if you had never been born, the world would be the same, worse probably, and no guardian angel will ever come. Level 6, the ghost. You are now directly employed by a transnational criminal organization, so large it functions like a corporation, with departments, quarterly earnings reports, and a human resources division that handles your unique needs. You are their ghost, the ultimate internal and external enforcement tool. Your pay is a flat $1 million a year retainer, plus bonuses for each job, usually $500,000 per high-value target. Your health insurance, yes, you have health insurance, a policy underwritten by a discreet Swiss firm, covers everything from gunshot wounds to PTSD therapy. Though you've never used the latter because admitting weakness in this organization is a death sentence. You are assigned a handler, a thin man in wire-rimmed glasses who looks like a tax accountant but talks like a general. He gives you dossiers that are 40 pages deep, satellite imagery, daily schedules, security personnel breakdowns, known allergies, favorite restaurants, mistresses' addresses, and the name of the dog the target walks every morning at 6:45 a.m. Your hits are flawless. You kill a Colombian cartel financier by poisoning his cocaine with a synthetic opioid that mimics a heart attack so perfectly no autopsy questions it. You eliminate a rival organization's chief enforcer by rigging his car to catastrophically fail at high speed, a severed brake line, a tampered airbag module, and a few drops of nitroglycerin in the fuel tank for good measure. The car explodes on the Pacific Coast Highway, a fireball that lights up the cliffs like a sunset, and you watch from a drone feed 10 miles away, sipping an espresso. You have access to incredible resources, a private jet on standby, a safe house in Monaco, a team of ex-Mossad operatives who can fabricate any document. But you are a prisoner of your own security. You trust no one completely, not even your handler, because you know exactly how easy it is to kill someone who lets their guard down. You test every meal before you eat it with a chemical analysis kit. You sleep with a Sig Sauer P365 under your pillow and a motion sensor alarm on your door. You have not had a physical relationship in 5 years, because intimacy is a security risk. You have, in effect, turned your own life into a maximum security prison. Level 7, the broker. The trigger work fades. Your hands are too recognizable. Metaphorically, your name is a legend now, and legend invites attention. You transition into a new role, the broker. You are the middleman, the fixer of fixers, the one who connects the kind of people who need people killed with the kind of people who kill them. You sit in a climate-controlled office on the 40th floor of a glass tower in downtown Dubai, dressed in a $9,000 chitin suit, sipping single-origin Ethiopian coffee while you negotiate contracts on an encrypted satellite phone. The office is decorated with minimalist art that is secretly worth millions. Your assistant is a 24-year-old business grad who thinks you run a high-end security consultancy. She's not entirely wrong. Your income is now $5 million a year, cleanish, funneled through a Hong Kong holding company that invests in legal commercial real estate. You have a penthouse in London, a villa in Tuscany, and a beachfront property in Zanzibar, though you never stay anywhere for more than 4 days, because patterns are how you get caught. You attend the World Economic Forum in Davos and share hors d'oeuvre with politicians whose rivals you've killed. You laugh at their jokes. You donate $100,000 to a children's hospital charity to offset the tax burden, and the irony does not make you pause. But you are not safe. The world you've constructed is a house of cards, and the wind is always blowing. You manage a network of 33 active operators across 4 continents. One of them gets arrested in Bangkok, and you have to spend $2 million in bribes and lawyers to keep your name out of his confession. Another operator goes rogue, decides to blackmail you. You dispatch a team to retire him, your own hand now wielding Alpal, not a gun, and it costs you 3 sleepless nights, not from guilt, but from the sheer logistical terror that the blackmail data might already be in the cloud with a dead man's switch. It wasn't this time. Your life is a delicate equilibrium of fear and luxury. You can buy anything except peace. You have a personal sommelier who curates your wine cellar, but you drink alone every night, staring out at the Dubai skyline, wondering if the faint buzzing in your ear is tinnitus or a drone you didn't spot. The golden cage has never been more literal. Level 8, the Syndicate's blade. They call you the Blade. You no longer broker, you are the ultimate executor of an invisible government, a cabal of oligarchs, ex-intelligence chiefs, and industrialists who operate above nations. You answer to a council of 5 people whose names you've never been told, whose faces you've seen only in silhouette on encrypted video calls. They own you. Your retainer is $20 million a year, placed in a blind trust that manages a portfolio of clean assets worth over $500 million. You are wealthy beyond any rational measure, and you are a slave to the most dangerous people on Earth. Your assignments are geopolitical. You kill a presidential candidate in a G20 nation because her environmental policies would cost the cabal $40 billion in oil contracts. You make it look like an aneurysm. You have access to a neurotoxin developed in a Russian bioweapons lab that induces a hemorrhagic stroke indistinguishable from natural causes, delivered via a perfume atomizer in an elevator. You eliminate a Chinese general who was about to leak nuclear secrets, using a directed energy device that causes cardiac arrest from 50 meters away. You are a weapon in a covert war, and the scope is terrifying. The cabal's reach is absolute. They can delete your identity from every database on the planet, or make you the most wanted man in history, with a phone call. Your humanity is gone entirely. You look at a family in a park and feel nothing, No nostalgia, no longing, just a clinical assessment of their vulnerability. You have your own blood tested monthly for toxins, your own brain scanned for microchips, your own soul examined by a priest you bribed to break the seal of confession. The priest tells you that you are damned. You tip him $10,000 and walk out. You're not sure you believe in damnation anymore, or salvation. You believe in the mission. The mission is all that remains. One night, you're tasked with killing a whistleblower, a former cabal accountant who fled to a safe house in rural Sweden. You track him down, a man in his 60s with a terrified wife and 2 golden retrievers. You hesitate for the first time in decades. Not because of the dogs, not because of the wife, because the accountant looks at you with a strange, sad recognition and says, I know what you are. I used to be you. They'll replace you, too, when you're inconvenient. You pull the trigger anyway. But the words burrow into your skull and stay there, a parasite. Level 9, the legend. You go rogue. You fake your death in a yacht explosion off the coast of Sardinia, complete with dental records lifted from a body you prepared months in advance, and DNA planted via a bribed Coast Guard official. You withdraw $50 million in cryptocurrency to a dozen cold wallets, and you vanish. The cabal sends teams after you, 3 of them, over 18 months. You kill them all, one by one, using skills you wish you never had to use against your former peers. The last one, a woman you trained personally, dies begging, and you feel a splinter of something that might be grief. You bury it. You live now as a ghost in the truest sense. A small cottage in the Faroe Islands, where the sea is gray and the sky is gray, and no one asks questions. You grow a beard, you fish for cod, you write a memoir in longhand that you will burn page by page because publication is suicide. You are free finally, but the freedom is hollow. You are 58 years old. You have no family, no friends, no legacy, except the bodies you've buried. You have spent your entire life perfecting the art of death, and now, facing the long, slow decline into age, you realize you have no idea how to live. The paranoia never fades. It's neural scar tissue. You still check the perimeter of your cottage every night. You still sleep with a gun. You still jump at the sound of a helicopter, even after years. The cabal you suspect has decided you're not worth the resources. Or they're waiting. The waiting is worse. Every morning you wake up and wonder if today is the day the poison in your coffee finally works, or the sniper's bullet finds your skull through the foggy window. You've built a perfect untraceable life and it is a tomb. Level 10, the end. One morning you don't wake up. It's not a bullet or a poison. It's a heart attack, mundane and anticlimactic. The cumulative stress of 30 years finally exacting its toll on the cardiac muscle. You die alone in your cottage, the kettle still boiling on the stove, the Faroe Islands drizzle tapping against the window like 1,000 tiny fingers. Your body is found 3 days later by a local postman. The police find no ID, no clues, just an old man in a wool sweater, a gun under his pillow, and a safety deposit key in a locked drawer. The key leads to a box in a Zurich bank containing $50 million in bearer bonds and a note that says, "For the poor of Reykjavik." It makes the news for a week. The mysterious benefactor, the hitman with a heart. They never learn your name.